Welcome to the show, Let Culture Speak. I'm Dan, reporting on new news that I find interesting and my takes and opinions on these stories for entertainment purposes. And on this segment of What the News, we have a lot to get to today. Julian Assange is free. Quick dive on who he is and what happened to him and his company and where he is now and where he's going now. Supreme Court free speech ruling. This is a Joe Biden suit that was shot down in Supreme Court. This is super important, so stick to that. Gavin Newsom recent State of the Union address. My thoughts on that. California Prop 47 off the ballot. That deals with Gavin Newsom also. Surgeon General and health emergency. My thoughts, I have a clip on that. An update on an illegal immigrant shooting at an NYPD officers. I did a report on that. It's on my YouTube, so check that out. And yeah, let's get into it. Let the culture speak. So for the entertainment purposes, I had to do that because recently my video got snubbed off of YouTube because of a controversy censored topic that I can't necessarily talk about because they will ban the video, and it has to deal with so if you want to check that out, check it out on my Rumble account at Let Culture Speak. And yeah, that's super interesting. I don't think it's super controversial or damaging to anybody or any misinformation or disinformation about it, but check it out. Tell me what you think. Leave a comment on that video, and yeah, appreciate it. So Julian Assange is an Australian editor publisher who founded WikiLeaks in 2006. He came to international attention in 2010 after WikiLeaks published a series of leaked footage of a U.S. airstrike in Baghdad, U.S. military logs from the Afghanistan and Iraq wars. Julian Assange, for having published disclosed documents that included possible war crimes committed by the U.S. military, is nothing short of a full-scale assault on the right to freedom of expression. In November 2010, Sweden issued an arrest warrant for Assange over allegations of sex crimes. He was arrested in the UK in December 2010. Assange denied the allegations, claiming they were a pretext to extradite him to the US for the WikiLeaks releases. He lost his appeal of the Swedish warrant at a UK court. He violated bail and went into Ecuadorian embassy in London. Ecuador granted him asylum and stayed at their embassy for the next 7 years after Ecuador revoked his asylum. Assange was arrested by British police. In June 2019, the U.S. formally requested his extradition to face charges. Assange remained in Belmarsh prison in UK. June 24, 2024, the UK court granted him bail after he said he will sign a plea deal with the US government, where he has agreed to plead guilty to one count of violating the Espionage Act in exchange for a 5-year prison sentence, which he has already served while in British custody. He will now be in Australia. So it's a big free speech. Yes, he's in Australia, but as a reporter, he got the reporting from someone else, intel from someone in the military, and he reported on it. He released it in WikiLeaks. It's nothing on his part that he hacked computers or anything, but he published it and let the world know that our government, the US government, is not as good as they think they are, or as we thought they were. And yeah, the stuff that's going on in Iraq and in Afghanistan that we thought we were told to believe were true, but there was mass casualty, civilian casualty, and reporters getting killed, and you know, there was no transparency. So it was awesome that Julian Assange actually released it to let the American people know, especially Snowden too, about like communications and spying with Americans' communication devices, that he should be released too. But you know, our American government doesn't seem like they care enough to actually protect freedom of speech and freedom of the press. They snubbed him for how many years? Like 1900 days in jail. And our government, they wanted to kill him because of what he exposed on WikiLeaks. And he was trying to run away, seek asylum in other countries, give it up for the courts in the UK to actually keep him away from the US, because the US, you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know what they were gonna do. And especially now that he's out and in Australia, this guy needs to be protected, because WikiLeaks is something that is super huge that people are gonna pay attention to. And we'll see what Assange is gonna say when he gets on like Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens, these big media platforms. Not CNN, not these mainstream media outlets that have billions of dollars that they could throw at like legal expenses, but actually talk to people that actually care about him. And it's just a whole controversy between left and right, even though majority of people actually thank him, that he is a hero to expose the government that completely lied about the wars that we were put into. And yeah, and that gets me to my next story. You know, Supreme Court tosses out claim Biden administration coerced social media companies to remove content. This court overturn an injunction that would have limited context between government officials and social media companies on a wide variety of issues. The Supreme Court on Wednesday rejected a bid from a group of social media users and 2 states to curtail Biden administration's efforts to pressure social media companies to remove content that officials said was misinformation. The court determined that the users in the states Louisiana and Missouri did not have the legal right to seek an injunction against the Biden administration over its contacts with the platforms. The users had argued that their speech was unconstitutionally stifled when their social media posts were removed or suppressed after prodding by administration officials. The Supreme Court ruled 6-3 in the case known as Murphy versus Missouri in a dissent joined by Justices Clarence Thomas and Neil Gorsuch. Justice Samuel Alito called the case one of the most important free speech cases to reach this court in years, and accused government officials of coercing private entities, the social media companies, to suppress speech. The trio of dissenters criticized the majority of the sidestepping the free speech issues raised in the case and permitting the successful campaign of coercion to stand as an attractive model for future officials who want to control what the people say, hear, and think. That is very upsetting that they would just reject that ruling. Like, there is, if you're paying attention, they are coercing other social media companies. Now you see X is ruled by Elon Musk now, and now freedom of speech is free on that platform. But on Instagram, YouTube, again, my video got banned, snubbed off the YouTube because of what I was talking about. And they don't want that because of misinformation, disinformation. But if you look back on that video, there's nothing wrong what I said. It's not gonna hurt anybody. I'm just reporting on things, giving my own thoughts, reports that I've heard and seen that no one wants to follow up on. But yeah, I got banned. My video got banned on YouTube, and it's upsetting, and that's why I had to go on Rumble. So check that out, because not just me, everyone who talks about it and reports on it is getting banned, is getting silenced and suppressed, and our platforms are being decreased because of the topics we're talking about, because the government doesn't want us to talk about it. Why? Because they want to suppress information to the majority of the public, people that aren't paying attention. And that's why I want to do it, because I want to let people know what's going on in our country, that we were lied to, that we are continually being lied to by a government that we hope and that we think that they have our best interest. But if you really look into it, if you really follow along, they don't. Why is the government suppressing so much information, threatening the American citizens? Isn't that tyranny? Do we live in a tyrannical country where the government controls everything that we say and do? It shouldn't be that way. American citizens should control the government. That's the way it should be. That's how our founders found this country to be that way. But years and years and years of suppressing information, tyranny, complete shutdown of American citizens, of our freedoms. Next, our guns. Our guns are most likely they want to take away also. And that's just suppressing on our freedoms as American citizens, of our constitutional rights. And that gets into my next one. I hate politicians. Politicians are not to be trusted because they're funded by donors, they're funded by foreign lobbyists. It's totally wrong, because we should be coming first as American citizens, because we pay taxes into our government to fix our roads, to keep food on our shelves. And it's just so much division right now that no one's on the same page of what Americans want. And it seems like these politicians are out to just divide us as a country. And getting into Gavin Newsom, I live in California and I don't like Gavin Newsom. I recalled him, I voted to recall him, but it seems like people in California at that time really didn't understand, especially with Larry Elder, who was trying to replace Gavin Newsom, and all these propaganda pieces, these hit pieces on Larry Elder being the black face of white conservative, white MAGA. It was ridiculous. And I posted that on my Instagram because it sounded ridiculous because of the hit pieces that they were putting out on him. Gavin Newsom probably spent millions of dollars on hit pieces and tried to stop the recall. Let's get into his State of the Union speech that he did, and we'll see at the end of the video.
That dream propelled us to the front of the pack to be the 5th largest economy in the world. Our values and our way of life are the antidote to the poisonous populism of the right and the fear and anxiety that so many people are feeling today. People across the globe, they look to California to see what's possible. Now we can live together and advance together and prosper together across every conceivable and imaginable difference. But the California way of life we recognize is under attack. For conservatives and delusional California bashers, their success depends on our failure. They want to impeach the very things that have made us successful as a tactic to turn America towards a dark.
And that's the thing of the State of the Union that he said seems so divisive, that he cast a whole net of Republicans, conservative MAGA Republicans, again, cast a whole net on Americans, that if you think a certain way, you are wrong, and that abortion is a single wide issue, just a single wide issue that Democrats can only run on, because everything else that they're running on policy, it is not good. Gas prices are super high. Like, California have hidden taxes that it's hard for other companies to compete in. You have crime going up. Karine Jean-Pierre says that the crime rate decreases, but they're not reporting on it. San Francisco is horrible. Los Angeles is horrible. And yet we want to normalize this. He wants to normalize it. He's not doing anything about it. The cops, our laws are diminishing throughout the years. Again, I reported on that. And it's just sad that Gavin Newsom is just not the governor for us. He incites division. He calls out Republicans on a wide net, just being super vague. So it gets people like liberals to fight against the Republicans, and just complete division. It is sad that people out there are actually going to vote for this guy. He is such a tool, man. He's reading off a script, man. He's so out of touch from reality, from American people in California speaking about real issues, especially crime, because it's getting worse out here. So be careful and get a gun, because that's super important. You can't rely on cops anymore. Like, if someone breaks in and you're waiting on the cops, it's going to be too late. So get that first emergency is to, yes, so get a gun, man. People in California are getting guns, and it's not that we would like to use it. No, we use it for protection of our families, because what we see in today in California with homeless people, with illegal immigrants coming through the border, and it's just making it completely chaotic in California. It's not safe anymore. You got gangs with illegal weapons, break-ins, car thefts, home robberies, assaults on people. Everyone is talking about it. And yet some people think it's normal. Oh yeah, this is how it is in California. And then you have people leaving, a whole migrating people leaving to go to Texas, to Idaho, to Florida. And why is it that reason? Because California is going to shit, especially in these big cities. People aren't safe anymore. They don't feel safe anymore. To think that we should normalize this stuff. You see fires going off with homeless encampments, people with mental issues assaulting other people on the streets. San Francisco, if you don't remember, San Francisco, at the time where Chinese officials were coming through, we cleaned that whole fucking city up. Crap was cleared, homeless people were cleared, there was little crimes here and there, but majority of it, they even said they didn't spend a lot of money or affect the deficit to clean up our city. So it could be done. It could be done if we use the tools that we have now. And the law enforcement, you gotta bring back in law enforcement, because they're super fucking important. I back the blue for this. But when politicians tell police officers to back down on certain things and not report on it, then yeah, it may seem like crime is not that bad, but normal citizens see it. Prices are too high, gas prices are too high, food is too fucking high. We're paying 3-4 times more in grocery stores now, and especially California. Taxes are too fucking high, and that's why people are leaving. It's just disturbing to think that we should normalize this stuff. Initiative that Americans in California are sick of it. And this next one, Prop 47, you actually have people in communities signing a petition to get this on the ballot, Prop 47, to diminish crime. People are sick of it. It seems like Gavin Newsom doesn't want that on there. And that just makes me think, we do not live in a democracy if the governor is trying to keep Prop 47 off the ballot when American citizens are sick of it and they want to see change.
First obtained by CBS News California, it's clear the governor's office doesn't want Californians voting to reform Prop 47 on Election Day. As you know, leaked emails make it clear that the governor's office does not want Californians voting on a retail theft, crime, and homelessness proposition on the November ballot. His chief of staff made it clear she did not want to negotiate a package of crime bills that Democratic leadership are pushing through unless a coalition of crime victims and law enforcement leaders and retailers would agree to pull their ballot measure off the ballot completely until 2026. At issue is the Homelessness, Drug Addiction, and Theft Reduction Act, and it's intended to reform Prop 47. That's the 2014 voter-approved law that reduced punishments for drug possession and thefts under $950, which, according to law enforcement and retailers, means even repeat and career thieves and people in possession of hard, lethal drugs now only face misdemeanors, which in California means no time in prison and rarely any time in jail. In fact, officers can't even arrest someone for a misdemeanor unless they witness the crime firsthand. Enter the new ballot proposal. It's been billed as a Republican-led initiative, but it's actually sponsored by a group of victims advocates and business and public safety leaders, including former prominent DAs. Top donors include Walmart and Target, and people have been lining up outside grocery stores to sign the petition, which now has enough signatures.
People are sick of it. Retailers. San Francisco is such a ghost town now. I don't personally go there anymore. I know other people don't personally go there because of the crime rate that's happening. It's just super dangerous. It stinks, smells like shit. Rarely go there. I don't want to risk my car getting broken into. I used to go there so many times, but now it's just crime ridden, homeless ridden, drug addicts ridden, mentally illness ridden. It's just not safe. And now he's trying to take Prop 47 off the ballot when American citizens are actually wanting this. Gavin Newsom has the power to say it's the Republicans that are doing it. The Republicans are pushing this. And it's your fault for thinking that way. It's for your fault, Republicans, even though it's probably Democrats and Republicans, liberals and conservatives who are pushing for this petition to be on the ballot. But Gavin Newsom wants to keep it off. Guys, I don't think this is democracy that we think it is anymore. I had a lot to say about that, and you could tell. Surgeon General talking about health emergency with firearms.
For the first time in the history of our office, I am issuing a Surgeon General's advisory on firearm violence. It outlines the urgent threat firearm violence poses to the health and well-being of our country. As a doctor, I've seen the consequences of firearm violence up close in the lives of the patients I've cared for over the years. These are moms and dads, sons and daughters, all of whom were robbed of their physical and mental health by senseless acts of violence. Unfortunately, the problem has continued to grow. 54% of adults in America report that they or a family member have experienced a firearm-related incident, whether they've been personally threatened with or injured by a firearm, lost a family member, witnessed a shooting, or shot a firearm in self-defense. Many of these harms are disproportionately felt in our communities. Black individuals endure the highest rates of firearm homicides, while suicide rates are highest among veterans, older white individuals, and younger American Indian and Alaska Native people. What is especially devastating is how this has affected our children. Firearm violence has become the #1 cause of death among children and adolescents, more than car accidents or drug overdoses. I've sat with parents who've lost a child to firearm violence. I've listened to their stories and felt their pain as they describe the holes in their hearts. As a father, I know a parent's worst nightmare is to lose a child, to feel like you can't protect your child from harm. Beyond these precious lives that are lost to firearm violence, there are wider ripples of harm to those who are injured, who witness the incidents, who live in urban and rural communities where such violence takes place, and who constantly read and hear about firearm violence in the news. The collective trauma and fear that Americans are experiencing is contributing to the mental health challenges that we are facing today. Nearly 6 in 10 US adults say they worry about a loved one being a victim of firearm violence.
Vivek Murphy? And he is so out of touch from reality of what we go through on a daily basis. Me as an American citizen, as a sovereign citizen, owning firearms is least of my worries. If other people who are safe at storing firearms and having firearms because this is a protection for their family. I'm more worried of fentanyl. Fentanyl coming through the border, actually affecting us. Young teenagers dying, taking drugs, didn't know it was laced with fentanyl, and they're dying. That should be a number one issue. That should be an emergency. Other things like that, it's more coming out, that it is actually killing more people. That should be a health and emergency. So many others. So leave a comment. What else do you think should he focus more on a health emergency? Because firearms is the least, very least to what we go through every day. And those firearms are most likely illegal firearms. And they want to cast a wide net to ban firearms in general, even though citizens are very, very good at keeping firearms safe away from their kids. I think that's a slight minority of people, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it doesn't correlate to what we see daily basis of what we hear with fentanyl deaths, drug overdoses, car crashes. They just want to ban guns. They want to. If you know history of people banning guns, of governments banning guns, complete tyranny, complete control over their citizens. We can't revolt if we don't have guns. Try to take our guns. Americans will revolt. And this is the culture of firearms. You see it everywhere. In movies, promoting guns. This is America. You shouldn't take guns from law-abiding American citizens that have control of them. You're just casting a wide net. They're putting laws against buying guns, background checks, which is, I guess, it's okay. And now they're doing credit card checks on you buying firearms, and potentially maybe one day to stop you from owning firearms, because they're just going to restrict your cards from even buying firearms. Everyone sees it. Society is just declining. Crime is rampant. And this gets into my next one, man, with illegal immigrants. Update to the NYPD officers that were shot at.
Two audio recordings read by prosecutors, Mata claims he was recruited to join the gang to commit robberies. But the most shocking claim, the gang has been smuggling guns into city-run shelters.
Trende Aragua members were smuggling firearms into city shelters inside food delivery packages. That way they'll have to go through the metal detector.
The NYPD is on to this gang.
We've never seen anything really like it. They're so dangerous.
Police say within the past year, there's been an increase of over 300% in robberies and grand larcenies. NYPD Chief of Detectives Joseph Kenny, who was on the 6 o'clock news earlier this week, says it started back in 2022, 2023, when the influx of migrants started arriving. He says these gang members have no respect for law enforcement.
In fact, that they were learning through intelligence debriefings that they're actually instructed to shoot police officers if confronted.
According to the NYPD, that's what happened on June 3rd when the two officers tried to pull Mata over for driving an unregistered scooter the wrong way on a one-way street in East Elmhurst. Mata telling investigators that shooting at police officers is what they do in his home country.
Venezuelan police officers get shot often in my home country because criminals feel there is a chance of getting away.
Again, increase of over 300% in robberies and grand larceny over the past year alone. I'm sick of the mainstream media continue to claim crime is going down in America so they can push the false narrative that illegal immigration isn't causing a rise in violent crime. If you have 50, 40 million illegal immigrants coming from other countries, the jail cells, the Venezuela emptying their jail cells and coming into this country, you're going to get a third world. You see it already. Back from the 90s, it's totally fucking different now. It's fucking dangerous. Keep your head on the swivel. Make sure you're safe. Keep your family safe. Get you a firearm. because shit is getting worse. It's not getting better. Americans are last. Our tax-paying dollars are going to funding these illegal immigrants coming through the border, paying for their driver license, paying for their food, paying for them to vote. Yes, they're having them to vote to change our elections, paying for their flights, paying for their housing, billions of dollars. And in California, our COVID money, we were in a surplus, I think, last year. That's what the California government said. We were in a surplus, but now we're in a deficit. That the COVID money that we did spend is just vanished. They don't know where the money is. So we're in a deficit now, and we're just paying for it. And it just seems like no one's paying attention. People normalizing this is how it is in California. Now you see droves of people leaving. Meanwhile, major crime-ridden Democrat cities such as Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York are refusing to send their data to be included in FBI crime statistics, which is undoubtedly lessening the true amount of national violent crime documented. They're not reporting on it. And Karine Jean-Pierre is saying crime is down. It's not down. It's up. We all see it. But it's time we stand up, because I'm sick of the deaths of American citizens. I'm sick of our taxes going to supporting these legal immigrants who are causing crime, who are killing our children, who are funneling drugs into our states, into our schools, into our cities, into our communities, into these homeless encampments, making them die. Where's the money going to helping homelessness? It's not. It's housing these illegal immigrants. Be prepared, man. It seems like it's getting worse. Honestly, I would like Larry Elder back in, or try to get him in again. And I appreciate you guys actually listening to me. So follow, subscribe for more. I'll be here next week. Gonna cover the Trump and Biden debate. At the time of this recording is happening right now. Things about camps being built in all 50 states for American dissidents, and whatever comes along my feed on Instagram, the independent news I'm listening to, news reports I'm paying attention to. I love it because I want to inform you guys. And it's great for me to transition into this because information is so important now. Mainstream media is down in the... They suck. So this is a chance for me to actually build up an audience and build trust, because I have no agenda to push except letting my community know, letting my family know, protecting my family and other people's family with information and news that we should all be paying attention to, and standing up as American citizens against our government. Our government shouldn't be tyrannical against their citizens. We should stand up and actually talk about these things. So I appreciate you being here with me. And comment below, man. I would love to mention your guys' comments on my next shows or any other shows. So like and subscribe. Follow me on Rumble, on Facebook, on YouTube at Let Culture Speak, Instagram, Let Culture Speak. Check out my shop, hellophotos.com. I do have a photography business. I created that website like earlier this year. So, and starting out this Let Culture Speak, because let culture speak, because the culture is here. We're here to stay. We're here to talk about those important issues. Yeah, look into my next video, Let Culture Speak, where we talk about celebrities, culture news, sports news. Look out for that one, guys. Peace out. See you guys next week.